Wow. Adam really got somebody to bite, huh? What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So this thing that happened at Hoodstocks. Adam, he got online and he put out his post and he said anybody who doesn't say anything about this is a coward and this and that, and he's the racial police and all that. Okay. Well, I hope you got your cop hat on. Hope you got your badge on, Adam. Let's talk about something. I just saw an interview with OG Gumby from Hoover. I just saw all the hatred in his face. I heard all the hatred in his voice. I heard all the hatred in his heart when he talked about Mexicans from LA. He used the WB word and Beaner word. Those words weren't bleeped out. So Adam, racial police, racial Fed, racial DEA, racial ATF, whatever you claim to be, call him on that shit. Call him on that. Now, let's get into it. Before we do, I want to say this. I'm shocked. Me personally, I'm shocked that a Hoover is speaking so much, spewing so much hatred towards Raza. There's a big ass barrio that has a clique, the Hoover locals, that were cool with the Hoovers. In all my years that I did incarcerated, I had one single incident with a Hoover. And after that incident, we were cool with each other, and that was in YA when we were kids. So let's talk about the first part. The fact that OG Gumby said that the Mexicans in LA ain't Mexicans. They're Mexicans. Racial slur. That is a racial slur. Anyone who uses the term Mexican means it to be intentionally disrespectful, and only racists against Mexicans use that term. So I don't want to hear how this dude's talking about we can't be racist, this and that, and you refer to people as Mexican. Intentionally disrespectful. He also used the WB word. He used the word beaner. Now, let's go into his reason why. Check this out. The reasoning in his mind why Mexicans in LA are not Mexicans, but Mexicans. The reason is because he says, according to him, he took the stats. He worked with the Census Bureau, right? And he said that 50% of all the Mexicans in LA can't even speak Spanish. So let's start with this. Spanish is a white man's language. That's the language of the people who conquered our ancestors. So you mean to say that people who don't know a white language aren't Mexican? That's what you're saying. That's your stance. Secondly, if that's your stance and why they are not, and Mexicans are not Mexican if they don't speak Spanish, what African dialect you speak in your home? What African dialect did you wake up speaking? You can't be black then. You ain't African American, right? Your roots never came from Africa, right? Because you can't speak a damn dialect. But you know how to say good night and good morning in Swahili? You know how to say crip, blood, and all that in Swahili? Come on now. What African dialect are they speaking in your hood? Come on, this is ridiculous. This is someone who has a voice, man. This is someone who's given platforms to speak. And in a lot of these platforms that he's been on, he has had issues with other black men. Repeatedly. And not once in those issues and those beefs, and ugly words were used, but never was the amount of hatred in his voice. Never was the amount of hatred coming from his heart. Never was the amount of hatred on his face. But when asked about Mexicans, you see it in his face. You see it, you hear it in his voice. You hear it coming from his heart. And what did he refer to Mexicans as? The enemy. Okay. He went ahead and he's telling the interviewer, the interviewer's from Texas, and says, hey, man, you know, out here, we fuck with each other. And Gumby turns around and says, oh, we fuck with the Mexicans too. When it comes to drugs, and he started listing off shit that ain't gonna get the black community anywhere. It ain't gonna get the brown community anywhere. It will lead you to the morgue. It will lead you to prison, incarceration. Like, it will lead you to all the worst shit in life. And that's what we fuck with them on that. Come on, Holmes. You have a platform. You have a voice. You're an OG. There are some people who are going to look to you and be like, hey, he makes sense. And you're spewing hatred. He goes on to say, he tells the interviewer, who's from Texas, man, if you go into Long Beach or you go into Compton, they're going to jump on you. And the guy said, why? Just because I'm black? And he said, yes. Come on now. Blacks ain't just victims. They're also perpetrators. Why didn't you tell him about that part? That the blacks are doing the same thing. And it's some gangbanging shit. It ain't based on race. Long Beach is, look, the Raza in Long Beach have been beefing with the blacks as well as the Asians for decades. But that thing in Compton, come on now, that's gangbanging. Straight up. Gumby is probably my age. Maybe he's older than me. I can't tell, right? But he knows in the 90s when it was racial, everybody was going. There were a lot of people who lost their lives on both sides. And then it died down. And what was left was gang beefs based on territory. Period. I just can't believe that somebody, I'm telling you, I'm blown away that he's from Hoover. I met so many cool ass dudes from Hoover. Every group has people that hate another group. Every group. In society, in prison, in gangbanging. But not everyone. This dude was talking about how Mexicans are raised to think. Man, it was just some of the craziest shit to hear. And then, look, this ain't my place, but I'm making this video, and I want to point out something that's very serious. Because a lot of people don't know the definitions of certain words, phrases, especially prison phrases, prison words. OG Gumby is calling a platform, a internet platform, a sureño platform. People who really hold that title are not on camera. Ever. You got it fucked up. You don't know the definition of that word, Gumby. And he went on to say that it's pushing a sureño agenda. Sureños don't have an agenda against blacks. That's like me pretending there's a Hoover agenda, and I start making up what the Hoover agenda is, or I start making up what a Crip agenda is, or I start making up what a blood agenda is. How foolish would I look to those that really know? There's a complete, humongous difference between a Southsider and a Sureño. People need to start, if you're going to start throwing words around, understand what the definitions are. Straight up. It's very, very, very unfortunate that Adam is the one that said whoever don't talk about it is a pussy and a punk and all that, whatever he said, right? And somebody who has lived a criminal life, lived a prison lifestyle, is the one to speak up in a way that is inflammatory. Nobody wants to see war between the black and brown community. Not anybody in the black and brown community, they don't want to see that. But there are people outside of those communities that have no allegiance to anything, that are gonna clip that live. I mean, excuse me, that interview and send it to everybody. Check this out. This is a spark. And they're gonna try to figure out how to throw some gas on that spark. Anybody incarcerated, anybody who's injured because of that type of speech, that's a damn shame, man. That would be disgusting. You don't ever, no one has ever heard me speak about another race with hatred. For what? See, unlike this cat, when I ran around and I was doing my thing behind the walls, it was about money. Racism was bad for business. So when he talks about an agenda being pushed again, I don't know who he's been around. And obviously no Raza was giving him the inner details, inner workings of anything they were a part of behind the walls. So he formed his own conclusions, which is very dangerous because you as an OG, you have a lot of youngsters here, man. It is what it is. People are going to believe whatever they want to believe, man. Common sense ain't all that common. It's a damn shame. That's my video for today, though. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.